All right, so now let's get to understand how the fire service personnel got the information, what they did first with the Medina fire, and then this one, the one that destroyed part of the Accra Tourist Center building. And of course, I'm privileged to say that we have in the studio the Greater Accra Regional Fire Officer, ACFO2 Rashid Nasiu. Mr. Rashid, you're welcome to the Pulse. And it's good to see you. And so this morning, I saw you in the videos joining your men to fight the fire at the Accra Tourist Center.
Yes, that's true.
All right. But we'll come to that. First, let's start with Medina.
Yes.
This was Sunday evening.
Yes.
A devastating fire that destroyed a large area. But it wouldn't be the first time.
Yes.
First, how did you get the information on Sunday?
Okay, so on Sunday, it was around 12:36.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon. 12:36. So there was this an outbreak of fire at Redco. We call it Redco Down, the washing bay. And then we had the information through, it was also a running call, because seriously, that particular area that got burnt is just a stone throw to Medina fire station.
Okay.
So you could even sit at the station and then you are viewing the place. So they saw that people ran to the station. We call it a running call. People ran to the station that there was an outbreak of fire at Redco Down, washing bay. So the first appliance that happens to be the Medina fire station tender, the Volvo, quickly rushed in. And then, in fact, when they got there, they realized that the fire had already, because these structures are wooden structures, and they are joined. The first thing that happened was there was an explosion, so it gave way for a lot of spread. So quickly they had to call for assistance.
An explosion that could have resulted from what exactly? Could it be gas cylinder?
It was a gas cylinder that caused the explosion. So because of that, the spread was very rapid. So Medina called for reinforcement, augmentation, and then Legon responded, Abilimpe responded, National Headquarters responded, the rapid intervention vehicle. So, we must have about 6 fire tenders. 6 fire tenders,
yes. Just for the Medina fire?
For the Medina fire, yes. That's what happened.
And then when you got there, how difficult was it to bring in under control?
The Medina, we had a challenge because those who know Medina very well, yesterday there was no water around Redco and its environs. The taps were not flowing. I told you before that these hydrants are mounted on water mains. So it stands to reason that if the pipes are not flowing, then it means that you cannot access water from the hydrants. The hydrants will be dry. So because of
in this case, the tap was not flowing.
The taps were not flowing. When Sunday is a dry area. So because of that, the fire tenders had to commit. Some came to Abilimpe, some went beyond Lagos.
In search of water.
In search of water to go back to help in extinguishing the fire. Some came to National Headquarters to look for water, go back to extinguish the fire.
And what is responsible for is it the case that water was not running, and that could be an issue for Ghana Water Company, or the fire hydrant was not in a position to supply the water that you needed?
Over there, we have one hydrant at, we call it Site 10. Site 10, but Site 10, what is happening is that because the taps were not flowing, even if you got there and you opened, you will not get water. There was only one hydrant, but that hydrant is where I just mentioned, Site 10, but unfortunately, because the taps were not flowing, there was no water, the hydrant was dry, and we had to go to places where we could get water to come and extinguish the fire.
And so the inadequate water was a main issue?
It was an issue. It was seriously an issue because I had to call. You see, more augmentation of fire engines most of the time has to do with to augment water supply for firefighting purposes. But the way the fire tender is designed, it was designed such that the moment you are discharging from the tank that you have taken, maybe it's on 30,000 or 35,000 liters, and then you are discharging. Then the next person is to connect from the hydrant to the pump.
All right.
So what it means is that as you are discharging from the pump to the fire scene, you expect water to be replenished through the hydrant to the pump. But unfortunately, since we don't have hydrant closer, and the one even that was closer was on a kilometer or two away and even was dry, what it meant was that we have to go looking for the water to come and extinguish. If that what you brought, you had exhausted, then you have no choice than to abandon the hoses and go look for water.
And some of your fire engines traveled all the way to Ablempe?
Yes, they did.
Just to refill?
Just to refill.
You couldn't get water anywhere close at Denta, University of Ghana, North Legon?
There was nowhere. Yeah, some too went to North Legon to replenish. Yes. Some too went to that area to replenish. Yes.
Right. And then, but Medina Red Co floods, this wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, if my memory serves me right, one that claimed the life of a Nigerian lady.
Exactly.
I don't know whether you remember that.
Some few months ago.
Yes. There was one before the one that claimed the Nigerian lady beauty, and then yesterday's one was the third one. So, and then it is all started, yesterday's own too started with the Nigerian people who, young ladies who have created these kiosks and they are doing their own thing down there. So the fire also started
from that same spot?
Yeah, it started from them and spread to
the other places. Are you able to tell the kind of business they do there that may have contributed to this?
Now pushing me away.
Because you were on the field and you are the man who is leading this investigation.
I am told that they are engaged in this unorthodox business that I may not be able to mention on air. So these are young ladies who plow their businesses in the night, and so they have some small
wooden structures that they operate in. So it is possible that they were cooking before the fire?
Because of the explosion of the gas, I suspect that one of them might have left the gas, and it is. We are still also investigation anyway, but since there was an explosion, that is what we were.
And are you able to tell how many structures were destroyed in the process?
Those structures, we have to sit down. We are still collating. And by the time we conclude with our investigations, we're able to know the number that is involved.
But at least the last two fires at that particular, I'm sure that
one that claimed the life of them.
I'm sure you did your investigation. What did it tell you?
It's a similar cause. All these fires, they are domestic fires. Domestic. You see, we've classified the fires. We have commercial fires. We have domestic fires. We have bush fires, and so these ones, those that starts in people's dwelling places, we term them as what?
Domestic fire.
And most of these domestic fires are linked to unattended cooking, electrical problems, unattended electrical appliances that you keep something and you take your eyes off, and so these are. I just want to give a general overview, but may not narrow to at least one. So
but I'm thinking that usually when you do your investigation,
yes,
you attach recommendations to either the government or the particular assembly. That this is what we found. This is what the assembly must do to ensure that there is not a recurrence. Because if the same reason is what we are assigning to the fire today, then clearly somebody may have sat on his job and they didn't enforce the recommendations that you came up with.
So regarding the Madina Red Co down, the frequent or rapid occurrence of this frequent occurrence of this fire, I will term it as indiscipline. I think there is a positive relationship between the frequent occurrence of fires at Red Co down and discipline. The higher the indiscipline, the higher the frequent.
Indiscipline in what form?
Indiscipline in the sense that, one, these structures are not properly constructed structures made of fire-resistant materials.
And are they supposed to be there in the first place?
And that is also another question. That is why I'm talking about issues of indiscipline. Now, if you look at the spread of fire, the proximity of one structure to another is a factor. So that if there is one fire here and I can move about 2 or 3 meters before another structure, then the possibility of spread will be what? Minimal. But these people have constructed that it is one structure to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, which is not supposed to be so. That is indiscipline. Access to the place It's impossible, which is indiscipline. So that is why I have attributed that to indiscipline.
But again, I come to my question, whether in investigating and in presenting your report, you make recommendations as well.
We do.
To say that, for example, because this is a reason that is causing this fire, there should be, I mean, you recommend that nobody should have such structures in that particular place?
We recommend because every fire report, after looking at the cause of fire and then the estimated cause of fire, the damage and all those things, the next to do is to look at the way forward,
right,
to prevent future occurrence of such things. So definitely we do. Then
is it therefore surprising that the first one relates to, gas explosion, the second one the same, the third one obviously the same, and I'm sure tomorrow or the next day after we'll see people rebuilding this particular place. Yes, so you don't recommend that the assembly should take hold of the place and prevent them from rebuilding?
But the assembly, the district commander over there, they've had dissect meetings and deliberated on it, and issues are that they shouldn't allow these people to be there, but they are still there. That is where the question is, the problems are. So long as they are there and the right things are not being, they are not doing the right things, definitely these are the challenges that we are going to encounter.
Because I'm absolutely certain that tomorrow or the day after, or even today, some have started rebuilding.
Yes. So I don't be surprised maybe from today or tomorrow, when you go there, you see them carrying, just like what is happened at Kantamanto. It's the same thing. They will do the wrong thing. Then the moment the fire consumes the place, in the next a day or two, then they will come and reconstruct. And
then somebody fired a weapon whilst your men were in the process of putting out the fire.
Yes, it's true. It happened. I was at the fire scene. Then I heard some gunshots. Then I tried to see what was happening. I saw that a lot of people were running for their lives. And somebody told me that there was one gentleman who was firing down there. I came and saw that he came and passed with a motorbike and then went away. So
you don't know the reason behind it?
What we did was that we called for police for reinforcement. So from there, the police came around. But at the time, I think by the time the police had come, he had bolted from the place.
Well, a police statement said that some people were injured, about 7 of them. And I mean, they say they are investigating and will bring this matter under control. And did any of your men suffer any injury in the process?
Not to the best of my knowledge, no fireman suffered as a result of gunshot injuries.
Now, let's move away from Medina and talk about the Accra Tourist Center.
Yes.
This was in the early hours of today.
Yes, please.
And we played interview my colleague who was at the scene, Noel Ahad, with the proprietor of Rocks Wachi, Regular Stone, and he makes the point that it took almost an hour before fire service personnel will respond to their call, to that distress call, to come and help put out the fire.
You see, time is very essential in firefighting. So to tell you that one Clifford Usu came there with a motorbike, I just read the motorbike's number to you, it's an indication that the call never came through our control rooms. Because the interim report we are generating says that it was a running call. Running call meant that somebody ran either on foot, on bike, but this person came on a motorbike. And when the first appliance that got there called for reinforcement immediately, which is an indication that at the time they got there, the fire was at a developed stage. See, we have stages of fire development. We have the introduction stage, we have the growth stage, we have the maturity stage, and the decay stage. So if you go and meet fire at a matured state, what it means is that that fire had been burning for some time. And you can't contain such fires using only one fire engine.
Right.
So the moment I was listening because I have my handset by me.
Right.
So as soon as the first appliance got there, he called for reinforcement. We call it pump. He called for second pump, called for third pump, called for fourth pump, up to the 6th pump. So the moment he got to 3, 4, 5, I knew what he saw
out of hand.
Was getting out of hand. And that was informing what he was doing. So that is how we judge. If you are the commander and you are sitting somewhere and something is going on and you are listening through the handset, you just can imagine that, no, this is what is going on.
So I was saying that because the call didn't come to your control room, that's how come response time was not the best. Because I know that this place is just opposite the Jubilee House.
Yes.
There's an engine at the Jubilee House.
Yes.
Your head office is not actually far from this particular place. Ministries is not far. Yet he says that it took an hour before response would come.
What it meant was that until we get the person who used this motorbike, where he was going before he diverted his journey to come. And sometimes some people are good Samaritans. He may just be going somewhere.
And then saw something
and said,
report.
This one is too much. Let me go and report. You see. So one, the fact that somebody came there on a motorbike, his name is registered, his motorbike's number is registered, is an indication that a call never came.
And this is just a passerby?
Yes. It's an indication that the call never came through the control room. That is one. Mm-hmm. The fact that the first appliance that came called for pump 2, pump 3, pump 4, pump 5, up to pump 6 in less than 5 to 10 minutes is an indication that he met the fire at a matured stage. Mm. And fire being in the matured state meant that fire had migrated from its introduction stage to the initial stage and got to its matured stage. Mm. And this would take you some time. And when we got there, he himself even said that they tried using the fire extinguisher and realized that the fire was not that type that you
use extinguisher to bring it under control.
These were the testimonies of people who saw it. You see, so that was also another indication, because if a fire, we define an extinguisher as a portable firefighting appliance that is used on fire at the initial or incipient stages. Mm. So if you got there and you had your initial equipment, which is the extinguisher that you can use to put out the fire, and you couldn't get closer because of the way the heat was coming, and that meant that definitely the fire was at this matured state before we got there. Mm. And that couldn't be the fault of the fire service. And I am told, I even saw her, the lady who was sleeping in the wache joint, who nearly even got bent in the process, got up and saw that the whole place
was on fire.
Was on fire.
She was asleep at the time the fire started.
She was even asleep at the time. Mm-hmm. And so if there's anything to go by, she was the first person who got up and raised the alarm. She confessed that when she got up, the whole place was taken over by a fire. So here, my advice here is there are certain things. Fire manifests itself in 3 ways. Fire can manifest itself through smoke, flames, and heat. So that if I'm stand to be corrected, if there were smoke detectors that could pick the smoke at a very small stage, I mean, the alarm will sound, and anybody at all around will hear. To the extent that the lady was sleeping, woke up, saw it, panicked and started shouting. Then somebody also rode a motorbike to our headquarters. It's an indication that something was not right
at the time.
At the time,
I know that you are investigating. I also saw you in the videos, in your firefighting gear and all that. There's been lots of narrative regarding what may have caused the fire. There is this narrative being pushed out there that the fire originated from a kitchen. I don't know what your preliminary investigation is telling you.
Okay. I think I saw the kitchen, but as an expert, when you go and stand there and you look at the smoke travel, where the smoke has traveled from, the severity of the burning in the place there, our initial assessment that is not the percentage that we should attribute to the kitchen area is very small.
It's very small. So it is possible it didn't come from the kitchen.
I am very honest with you, because when I looked at the smoke pattern, looked at the severity of the burns and a whole lot of things, and indeed, if it had even started from the kitchen, if we don't take time, we would have lost.
The person who was sleeping at that particular place.
These are some of the analysis, but I am not preempting anything. We are open, we are still investigating, you see, but we will still place emphasis there, but not too much weight on
On the kitchen?
On the kitchen. I'll be
so if not the kitchen, where else? Per your investigations?
Oh, there are so many ignition sources. There are so many ignition sources in an office setting. One.
This is actually early Monday morning.
I know.
People had yet to come to work.
Yes.
So obviously, this is a place that was shut down, yes, apart from maybe one or two offices that operate 24/7.
Yes. You've drawn the conclusion as to whether the place was indeed shut down, that nothing was on, I doubt.
Okay.
Because there was fire. And there are three things that will come together to give you what? Fire. Fuel is available because all those things around there are combustibles. We term it in fire engineering science, fuel. There is oxygen. So long as human beings are breathing, you can't stop oxygen from being in the environment. Right. Oxygen is everywhere. Now, the only strange element that is bringing me this afternoon was the heat. So that if we draw a conclusion from your analysis that everything was shut down, then the question I will ask is, then where is the heat coming from to come and augment to make the triangle of combustion complete?
So for you, from the perspective of Ghana National Fire Service, what would be your recommendation as we speak now to the Assembly who have jurisdiction over the Madina Ritz area and of course the Accra Tourist Center? Is it the case that nobody should begin a rebuilding exercise? The place should be left the way it is until you finish your investigations?
I think that let's start from the Medina, since that was the first one that we started with. I think that we all know it's all about survival. We need to eat. And so people want to come back and start constructing. But I will advise that the District Security Council in Medina, Lankwantana, I think appeal to the MCE to put the experts together and then read and design the place. The place should be designed such that even if they have to construct makeshift structures, there are fire-resistant materials that they can use.
Right.
So that if there's even fire, the disaster or the devastation will not be as much as we are experiencing today. And if it is well planned and executed and they are there will be egress where fire engines can pass through. There will be provision of water for firefighting purposes. There will be people that we can train as watchmen and wardens, fire wardens, so that they can be patrolling the area to pick any signal of fire. So that is the Medina situation. The reconstruction, they shouldn't be in a hurry
to do it.
They should allow the District Security Council to sit down with their engineers, come out with a very nice plan, give it to them to put it on the ground, and tomorrow you and I will not be here discussing Medina the fourth time, Medina Reku down the fourth time.
I hope so. I definitely hope so.
So that's the way forward.
And then for this way, that is quite well regulated. The Accra Tourist Center, there are businesses that run 24/7. You think that they should shut down for now until the place is cleared for work to resume?
In fact, the truth is that the state in which it is today,
there's nothing you can do.
They cannot operate. They cannot operate. So I will advise that they should bring in structural engineers to come and check the structural integrity of the facility. If it was not supposed to be pulled down and they have to renovate it, they will do it for them to come in. And the cost of renovation, one, they should provide water for firefighting purposes, hydrants, right in the yard.
Is that a major challenge as far as fighting fire is concerned?
No, it's a requirement in line with provisions in LI 1724, Fire Precaution Premises Regulations 2003. A facility of such nature is enjoined by law to have water for firefighting purposes.
This is Medina or the Tourist Center?
The Tourist Center.
They also don't have a fire hydrant.
So,
and this is just opposite the Jubilee House.
But there's a fire hydrant in the Jubilee House. Just in front of the Jubilee House lined up, I went there with the engineers of Ghana Water Company, and right in front of the Afrikiko, the main Ghana Water Company line is lying in front of Akikuku through Jubilee House. So there are the hydrants that have been dotted along that I am.
What about opposite of it, where the tourist center is?
That much.
They don't have.
I don't know about that one.
And this is in a first-class residential.
So what I want to advise is that apart from putting the hydrant on the water mains, I also want to, we in security will call something Plan B, so that if your first plan fails, you can rely on
the plan, on the second plan.
The second plan is to get a borehole, collect water down for firefighting purposes, so that in case there's any outbreak of fire, if the hydrant is not coming because the taps are not flowing, the firefighters can rely on the water that has been reserved for firefighting purposes. Now, I also want to talk about fire wardens. Just like we have watchmen, that people place premium on security, and so they don't want their things to be stolen. They put watchmen there or security men there. I'll plead that it's even enjoined in the law to make sure that when they want to open a place of such, they should have fire wardens, pay them, dedicate them to take care of issues of fire them.
Right.
Now, I have also mentioned that fire manifests itself in 3 ways, either through smoke, flame, or heat. Right. So that I will advise that there should be smoke detectors, flame detectors, or heat detectors to detect fires at an early stage.
There are places where after the detection is done, water is sprinkled, so that it minimizes the impact of the fire.
Yes, those ones we call them sprinklers. So you can also have sprinklers installed there, so that the sprinklers will begin to suppress the fire before the firemen arrives. So these are some of the things that I will advise that in future. So in short, before even the reconstruction, the engineering drawings should be submitted to the Ghana National Fire Service, so that we'll look at it and advise on the way forward, so that the right things will be done.
Before I let you go, I mean, we are in the 8 months of the year.
Yes.
January, we are in August. So what will be your assessment of the fire situation? Because you command the Greater Accra region, perhaps we can talk about the Greater Accra region. Yes. Is it improving or is it rather deteriorating?
On the contrary, talking about commercial fires rather, on the decline.
On the decline?
Yes.
Okay.
Commercial fires are on the, because we are embarking on the night patrols, like I mentioned before. Night patrols, we are still on our night patrols. The chief officer has provided assistance for us to refurbish these old fire engines. So in Medina, there is a fire appliance in Adenta, there is one in Medina, there is one in Legon, there is one in Abelempe, there is one in the Jubilee House, there is one in Nungwa, there is one in Amasama, there is one in Accra City, there is one in Dansumai, regional headquarters, Kulegu. The fire engines are all over the place. Accra City Central, there is a fire engine that is based there because the chief officer has given money for us to refurbish these old engines, and those that had been sitting on rocks all now have come to augment. And so for that matter, we can be sure that, but of course, we will still need more. We need fresh ones, because these are old fire engines, and refurbishing them means that they will not be strong like we're getting new fire engines. That much, yes, I should say so.
And then the Minister for Interior, Alhaji Muntaka,
yes,
also announced some incentive for fire service who always get injured, or who may get injured in line of. I wonder how that is helping with morale within the service.
Oh yes, that is a very good package, that you know that if you are hurt, at least there's something to fall on.
So before this announcement, there was nothing like that for officers who go on fire scene?
Was general, this workman compensation, that maybe if you are injured, they have a way of calculating to know maybe 10% injury, 30%, 20%, and that is not exclusive of only the fireman. It's a general thing for everybody. But looking at the nature of our job, you can see that ours is a little stressful.
Right.
It's a very dangerous area. So introducing a package like this is an incentive, it's a motivation to the firefighters. And I think I want to use this opportunity to thank the Chief Officer, thank the Minister for this initiative. Because it's the first time we are seeing things of this nature.
We'll have to leave it here for now. ACFO to Rashid Nassau is the Greater Accra Regional Fire Commander. We'll be talking about fire. We'll wait for your investigation and recommendation on these two fires, especially Medina, where it will be the third time you'll be reporting on a matter that you've been on it for.
I also want to remind you that you promised that you help us for the general public to come to our aid, corporate organizations to come to the aid of the Ghana National Fire Service resources. So I'm still waiting. How you want us to put it, I don't know.
Okay, we'll have that discussion.
Yes.
But thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, my brother. I'm grateful, okay.
Right, and so...